You're listening. No. You're listening to the Buns.com podcast network.
Buns, buns, buns.
Welcome to the Pixels&Ink podcast, episode 263, brought to you by CG Magazine. I'm your host, Lisa Mior, and joining us today are Brendan Fry.
Hello, hello, hello.
Brendan Quinn.
Hello.
And Phil Brown.
That's me.
How are you gentlemen doing today?
Great. Yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay. It's
Just great.
pretty snazzy.
It's pretty snazzy?
Yeah.
All right, why don't we get started? So one bit of game news we have going on is Andy Serkis is creating a Planet of the Apes game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, using his
mocap studio,
Yeah, his
right?
mocap studio called Imaginarium, which is pretty cool. It
Yeah.
sounds interesting.
Yeah.
It's like I guess it's set between the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and the War of the Planet of the Apes, and it's about like other ape faction that leaves because they want to avoid the war with the humans.
Okay.
And then they end up crossing a mountain and being attacked by the humans. So it doesn't work out for them. But I guess it's going to be an almost entirely like choose your own adventure type game.
Weird.
Where it's almost exclusively narrative based and based on options, and you can pick whether you want to be the humans or the apes, and determine their various destinies. Yeah, I'm okay with it. I do like those. I like Telltale style gaming, and I love this franchise, and the fact that they're using the same technology they used to make the movies is interesting. The problem is I've never had a truly satisfactory choose your own adventure narrative experience. I find there's always like one thread that's actually interesting, and then the rest are just a bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah.
So I'm worried about that, but
It could be interesting.
Movie games usually aren't great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
it's true.
It's hard, surprisingly, to go either way because movies are also usually not great. But I mean, if the content's there, I don't see why they can't.
Yeah, the fact that it's the original creators gives me hope.
Yeah.
It's just ultimately format and not to mention the fact those last two Planet of the Apes movies, though I love them, are super depressing. So I don't know if I want to go through a 8-hour depressing Planet of the Apes experience.
I think that's the only way to do it. Just,
Okay,
just
I will
dive in.
Would you rather just like a hack and slash, you're an ape and you just run around and just platform and slash people?
Yeah.
Would you prefer
Well,
that?
actually, so the people that are making it, Fox Next, made Alien Isolation.
Oh, okay.
So I mean,
Okay.
that's pretty cool. There's a movie property that was a
Well,
pretty.
to be
decent
fair, I
game.
think Foxnet's published Alien. Oh, did something related to Alien Isolation? Because I think Creative Assembly actually made Alien Isolation.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
That would make sense if they're distributing because they're
Yeah.
both Fox
Yeah.
properties. But yeah, that proved that they did one really good game out of Fox properties. So, maybe it'll happen again. Has there been a Planet of the Apes game before?
There had to have
There's
been.
got to be some for like Atari
Yeah,
or
there must have been I feel like there must have been a point-and-click adventure game back in the
or
day
that.
something
Yeah,
like that.
definitely.
But I don't actually know. I've never investigated that before. I'm just trying to think. I think just the gap was probably too big because the first series ended in the early 70s. And so the only opportunity to do a game after that would have been that horrible
There was
Mark
a
Wahlberg movie.
Yeah.
There was for PlayStation.
Yeah, that
for
was the
that
Mark Wahlberg movie. Yep.
Of course there was.
And a Game Boy Advanced game.
Yeah, they must have been great since we're just finding out about them
Yeah.
now.
Look,
I mean, the movie was so
No, the
good.
Game Boy- it was
How
just
could they
available
not
on
make a
Game Boy
good game?
I
look at
know.
this game.
It's the same game. Oh, it looks
That's
amazing.
Planet of the Apes?
Yes.
That's ridiculous.
So it's like this crazy.
Is it like a platformer?
Yeah.
is it like a
Oh no, there's an even better one.
Metro-
Here,
Here's
hold
here's
on.
Oh, yeah, that looks like original PlayStation.
Yeah, this is great audio for everyone.
Polygons.
I know, right?
It's just
Yeah, the PlayStation
oh, it's so
polygons are
great.
priceless.
It's
and,
so great.
And then the Game Boy Advance looks like it was like a Metroidvania kind of thing, which is an interesting choice.
It looks really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Oh,
this could turn things around.
you can fight a snake.
That's right.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, everyone remembers that great snake fight. Yeah.
No, a knife. No, it's a knife snake fight.
Yeah.
So great.
That classic scene.
I love it.
That was
Yeah.
a classic scene in the movie. I mean,
Yeah,
that's when you think of it, like Mark Wahlberg fighting that snake. You're like, oh,
100%.
no seat. No one was in their seats at that end of that scene. They
For
were just like
sure.
sitting on the edge of it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
yeah. No.
What are some of the worst to game adaptations I ever had.
I mean, you have
remember
E.T.
Yeah, well, of course,
obviously.
notoriously.
You know what? The Star Wars ones for Super Nintendo
those were good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Those were good.
Actually,
Those were good.
most Star Wars games have been good. Like
general.
TIE Fighter was great. I love even Shadows of the Empire and N64.
Oh, for sure.
Which I haven't played since then. It might be terrible now.
It doesn't
but
hold
I
up.
loved
Yeah.
it when I was like
Oh
12.
my god, yeah, it was my favorite. But what were some of the really disappointing? I remember being really heartbroken by the Back to the Future NES game.
Oh, that was not
Yeah.
good either.
Yeah.
Because I was like, this is
they're
going to be
not
me. I'm going to drive around flying cars and stuff. And I just walk around solving puzzles, jumping on skulls. It was
The
stupid.
Ghostbusters one was also pretty terrible.
was rough.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Hoover and Roger Rabbit game was pretty bad.
That was the Freddy Krueger and
Yeah.
Friday the 13th games were brutal.
Yeah.
Nintendo was not a good time
No,
for licensed
that was-
games.
it was very
they were
bad.
just very clearly took an unfinished broken game and
Slapped
slapped a
some-
property
yeah.
on top of it. Yeah. And
What about Street Fighter, the movie, the game?
that one, oh yeah. That,
Actually, yeah, what's his name? The guy who played Gomez and
Raul Julia.
yeah, he killed that movie.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
As like over the top and cheesy.
No,
and
but have you ever
stupid
played the
shit,
game
but-
based on that movie?
Oh, there's a game based
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the
Street
movie based
Fighter,
on the game.
Yeah, the Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Oh,
There's
I
the same
didn't-
one for
Yeah, yeah.
Mortal Kombat as well.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
the Mortal Kombat, the movie, the
That's
game
right.
as well.
Yeah, no, it was the Street Fighter controls, but with the still image spirits of Mortal Kombat with the cast from Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember at the time being loving it because it meant I could be Jean-Claude Van Damme, which at age 10 was a big dream of mine. But I haven't played it since, and I can't imagine,
No.
even for camp value, that it
No.
would be worthwhile. Although, I mean, if it's the same controls as Street Fighter,
But,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it more sluggish? I don't remember.
I remember it being more sluggish, but then again, I was a kid and dumb.
Well,
so
that's
I don't
exactly
know.
it. Like I said, I was just like, Van Damme is amazing.
Hold on, guys.
Yeah, what you got?
There's an emoji movie game.
Of course there is. Oh, that's exciting.
I'm going to install
Finally.
it.
Yeah.
It's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
Me
yeah.
too.
About time.
It wasn't announced at E3. I was so let down. It was like what I was really excited for.
Did you see the emotion movie, Phil?
Oh yeah, it was horrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd ask.
And you mean like straight up horrible, not horrible in a fun
Yeah,
way?
but yeah, that was the problem. Was I was hoping. Excuse me. I was hoping I'd at least be able to laugh at it, but it was just really. It was like the dullest, most believe in yourself child plot,
yes.
and then also the most egregious product placement I've ever seen.
Really?
Because you could tell watching it that they had the bare bones plot, and then all the set pieces and sequences were based on whatever app agreed to allow them to be part of it.
Oh my god.
Which some just didn't even make sense. Their Dropbox was heaven.
What?
In it? Yeah, Dropbox,
Yeah.
which all the kids love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they'd get between phones through Spotify. They would
What?
stream between phones.
That doesn't even make sense.
I know.
Like, that literally makes no sense. Dropbox makes sense. Go to Dropbox down to another phone.
It was so stupid. There's a Candy Crush sequence. It was just,
Well, there had to be.
of course.
None of this makes any sense. It just seems like,
was so
hey, we need to
stupid.
make the money back of this movie.
Yeah.
Put every product we physically could
For
do.
sure.
Which they did,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah,
mean,
they sure did. And it
Was there an Uber joke?
I don't remember. There
Okay.
must have been. I checked out at a certain point. I'm gonna be
Like, no.
honest. It was. I mean, it was very early on, just the general concept, because the main character's Matt emoji
Yeah.
decides he feels too much for that, and then he goes on an adventure with a guy with a thumbs up emoji, and the reason that guy feels disenchanted is that he used to be in the because it's inside a kid's phone.
Yeah.
And the thumbs up emoji used to be in the kid's top 5 quick
Yeah.
pick emojis.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he got bumped out. So it was in an
Oh
existential
boy, what a
crisis.
tragedy!
It was
This
horrible.
all sounds like the worst
I
thing
know.
ever.
But the
Yeah.
good news is not even kids liked it. So
It
that
just
was a
failed.
plus. Oh, that really failed.
Okay.
And God bless. Because the Angry Birds movie was a hit, and I was really upset.
Because that movie barely is a movie.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah.
But this was even worse.
Weird.
I can't. Yeah, I wish I could say it was funny to watch to make fun of, but it wasn't.
No.
It was just horrible.
That's
Your
sad.
job is.
Yeah.
I don't envy you sometimes.
It was
I
a
gotta
rough
say.
Oh, as a
That was
side
a rough
note, no, I'll bug you after the podcast. For this
Okay.
one.
All right. So there was some news about Tokyo 42. Brendan, you want to fill us in
Yeah,
on
this
that one?
is when marketing stunts backfire. So basically, one of the I think it was a publisher, not one of the developers.
Someone associated with the game.
Someone associated with Tokyo 42 actually back in May started a fake Twitter account of a developer who claimed that Tokyo 42 was a ripoff of his game for the Spectrum from the 80s,
Called Tokyo
41. And, nothing really caught on at first, so the guy started posting images of his original game. And then games journalists started looking into it, and nobody could find hide nor hair of this game ever actually existing. So, long story short, it turned out that he had made up this fake character and this fake game in order to kind of generate some marketing hype, which also it didn't go anywhere and got people kind of riled up, saying like, you know, there is tons of thievery and IP theft and you know, indie developers kind of getting screwed over, so he shouldn't make a joke about it. But I think at least he tried something different.
Yeah.
And again, at the end of the day, for good or bad, he got people talking about his game, which I don't think was selling very well to begin with.
It's so pretty though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The aesthetic's great, and I like anything kind of top down. I'm sold on. But the best thing is now people are asking for a demake version
Of Tokyo 42.
of Tokyo, or of Tokyo 41, like the fake game, because everybody loved how cool it looked. Which, you know, whatever. If that happens, that's pretty cool too.
I'd love to see that game. It looked really cool.
I just thought it was funny that because the internet investigators are so good, they realized that, you know, the game scrolled too fast for something released on that platform, and in fact, the Spectrum didn't have a mouse, so the point-and-click shooting, like, you know, you can't fool the internet. They will figure out that you are full of crap.
So weird.
Yeah. Speaking of thievery, more developments in the HBO hacks.
That's right.
Yeah.
So some more episodes were leaked, and
Yeah, episodes were leaked, and the Twitter account got hacked and kept tweeting out. Oh, I think I got it down here. They kept tweeting out, "Let's make HBO hack trending."
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, and like HBO would delete it, and then a few hours they'd hack back in and post it again. And yeah, at the beginning of the week, HBO claimed that they weren't actually in contact with them, that all the news stories they'd heard about, and then like more stuff started happening, became clear they were. And yeah, they claimed some Curb Your Enthusiasm episodes were leaked, and Game of Thrones, and yeah, it's getting weird and not great.
The Game of Thrones thing I thought was the fact that their like streaming service, HBO Now, streamed it out as if it was an actual show.
Yeah.
In the Netherlands and Sweden, it's one of those like that sort of thing. And then people just started downloading it from that service.
Of course, but who knows? Because I mean, like,
so maybe they hacked it.
They claim this. Yeah, well, they claim the same thing with that Indian.
Yeah,
like these could be easily be cover-up stories.
Because I mean, there's been numerous.
Oh, they're just kind of spin it like we didn't get stolen. It was on purpose.
Exactly. Yeah, it's convenient that like all of a sudden these weird accidents started happening.
Because there's a lot of
one after another. Yeah, that's true. I never even thought about that.
So who knows?
There's a lot of like right now. I think almost every episode of Game of Thrones has released earlier than the actual scheduled date.
I know.
And for their second last segment of season, this is not great for them.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
That's funny. I know a bunch of like Game of Thrones fanatics, and I don't think any of them have actually watched any of the leaked episodes.
No.
Or at least nobody's even talked
no one
about
I know,
it.
because they're very like people I know their Game of Thrones fanatics have a ritual about it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Their
Their Sundays, their big thing.
That.
Everybody comes over.
And
they
I got
go
a live
to the bar.
tweet about how I don't want spoilers, but I do. And
Like,
all
don't
that
talk
stuff.
about spoilers.
yeah. All that stuff. So yeah, I think they've been lucky on that regard. But it's been very strange. And how HBO's handled it has been very bizarre. Been a lot of covering their tracks, and I don't know.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, and it's felt like. As much as it's been out there, it's been almost underreported.
Yeah.
And I feel like part of that was due to the Sony hacks, which became such a sensation, and that like played right in the hackers' hands.
So they're trying to report it less.
Trying to be careful on that. It's just a weird, like, there's no, the precedents are being set for what this is.
Yeah.
It's
Also, the
not
problem
going away.
And the problem is, there's so much misinformation about these hacks that you start reporting, and like no HBO like, nope, that's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't know if what you're reporting is actually fact or just some internet rumor or some Reddit rumor or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say. It's really hard to actually get the facts because HBO's not cooperating and the hackers aren't being clear what they actually have. So
the whole thing's very, very bizarre.
Yeah, everybody can just sit back and let them hack it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then at the end, well, yeah.
Eventually, either they pay or they don't, and people will continue to watch Game of Thrones every Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That's the thing. So
Totally.
neat.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. What's something that's not cool?
That's cool that HBO got hacked. Go them.
More referring to the people that have the ritual. But anyway, a little more somber note. So one of the stunt people on the set of Deadpool 2 was killed in the middle of a stunt, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, riding a motorcycle
in Vancouver
through a building or something.
Yeah, it was a really big tragedy. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously horrible and sad that happens. It is something that happens more often than you'd think.
Oh no, I'm sure.
Yeah, like last.
Well, the Resident Evil one like broke their back or something.
Lost her arm.
Lost her arm.
A stunt woman lost her arm on Resident Evil, and they, just kept that quiet. And yeah, it's just unfortunately.
I mean, I have to say, I am pleased that Ryan Reynolds did, as soon as it happened, did tweet out that like thoughts with her, because I know a lot of this stuff happens in the studio, just kind of sweeps it under the rug.
Yeah.
You don't want that tainting your movie. And
oh, for sure. I feel like they handled it as well as they could have.
Oh, they
for
did.
Sure.
They actually made sure that as soon as it happened, like family knew about it. Like it went on like online, so people could actually know.
And I mean,
this
it's
stuff
a
happens.
risky career choice. That's literally their job, right? It's like when a professional athlete, dies in like an avalanche or something. It's like it's sad, but at the same time, they know the risks. That's why they do what they do.
Sadly, one of those things that's going to happen. Yeah. And at least everyone acknowledged it and handled it as best they could. Unlike all those munchkins died or whatever.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Things were different in the 30s.
It was very different. Yeah.
But I mean,
easier to cover that
this was
up.
the stunt woman for Domino's character.
Like from pictures I saw, and I didn't like. I don't know how accurate they were. It actually looked like it was like Lady Deadpool.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Weird.
Which they didn't say it was going to be in the movie.
Oh, so that could be even just like an accidental.
I know that.
Yeah.
I think the studio released a thing just a little bit after it happened that it was Domino's stunt double. So.
Oh, okay. I just saw a video. I just saw a picture that looked like Deadpool with boobs on a motorcycle. But I have to admit, I didn't investigate much.
Well, I mean, Lady
that.
Deadpool is in the comics, right?
Oh,
so
totally.
That could be a thing. And knowing them, it would be like they want to make the second movie even zanier than the first.
for
Why
sure.
not pull out all the stuff?
Certainly, if not in this movie, Lady Deadpool will appear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Ryan Reynolds wants to make the entire universe.
Totally. So yeah. Anyway, that was tragic. And then also, of course. Tom Cruise broke his ankle this week too.
We haven't actually said her name.
What?
We didn't actually say who
Oh,
it
okay.
was. Yeah, her name's actually Joy S.J. Harris.
Okay.
That's the person who died.
And
R.I.P.
She's known for her motorcycle work, apparently.
Yeah.
Right. Bummer.
I know, because I looked her up and I'm like, who is this woman?
Yeah.
She's done lots of
Yeah,
movies.
she probably did some Fast and Furious and that sort of thing. That's a bummer. And then also this week, in a week of stunt mishaps, Tom Cruise also broke his ankle doing a stunt for the new Mission Impossible movie, which, and it's very weird to me because he's 55 now.
Yeah.
But he's basically like trying to be Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
But hasn't he always really been dedicated in doing his own stunts? For every movie anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Except like his movies didn't really have stunts until he was like in his 40s. Like the Mission Impossible ones were like the first one, and that was deep into his career. Like he wasn't doing a lot of stunts in Rain Man. You know what I mean? So
or Risky Business.
He did that slide on his own. There was no stunt man
Totally.
there.
Hey man, I've rolled my ankle doing work.
Yeah, like he learned to do like pool tricks and stuff, but like his he didn't really start doing big action movies until the 90s. And it's just odd to me that that's the route he's gone.
Yeah. Well, that's what Liam Neeson did too.
I suppose that's true, but Liam Neeson was not doing his own stuff.
No.
But yeah, and this was there was footage released of it. It was like jumping across a building. It's a bummer, but everyone says it won't delay production. And apparently, like it was not the big stunt because there's some stunt in this that he claims he's been training for a year to do.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
They haven't said what it'll be, but whatever it is, we'll have to top that being strapped to a plane in the last one. So
I was gonna say, or climbing that tower in Dubai that he did, just because why not?
Yeah, totally.
Have a sandwich on the top.
Oh yeah, and like don't get me wrong, that stuff's impressive. Like it was worth seeing those movies just for those. But it's just odd to me that like in his 50s, he's like, now's the time when I'm gonna start doing crazy stunts.
Yeah, I mean,
of all the midlife crises you could go through,
I suppose.
I mean, like, doing your own stunts and getting really fit to do it.
Oh, so let's not pretend the public face of Scientology is necessarily all there upstairs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. There's that too. He's got the Scientologist telling him that he can fly. So
yeah, but I'm thinking you use stunt doubles so you don't have the insurance on an actor is far more than the insurance on a stunt. As horrible as that is.
That's just a fact.
If the main actor of the movie dies, it means that movie's not going to be finished. If a stunt double dies, as horrible as it is, the insurance is less. So usually studios are like, nope, you can't do that stunt. That's why a lot of like actors that from Asian cinema come over here. They find it very hard to do their own stunts because just the insurance costs are so astronomical.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a little morbid, but the fact with like CG and motion capture, do you think that affects that in any way?
What do you mean?
Because I mean, if you had say somebody was out for the duration of the rest of the film. All right,
Yeah.
so they got really hurt. They couldn't continue the film.
Yeah.
Could they? Now that we have CG, that's a little more.
Well,
I mean,
Maybe they could
did
finish
that
it that way,
with
right?
Heath Ledger in that one movie.
Or-
like-
And
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Yeah,
and,
Paul Walker.
Yeah.
In the Fast and
maybe
Furious.
that's...
So,
yeah.
with that
Heath
effect,
Ledger.
insurance.
That was the one where they recast the
Imaginarium
part.
or
They
whatever?
recast the role.
Oh,
So every single time,
okay,
every
I
single
gotcha.
time it was a new person. It just
Exactly,
became a new
yeah.
actor for some reason.
Yeah. They came up with that concept instead. But yeah,
It wasn't a good movie though.
No. I know. Yeah, no. I'm sure I don't know. I'd imagine it must. Like, especially after the Fast and Furious became the most successful movie. I'm sure that like probably played a role in insurance bonds because they know
Yeah.
they can at least get every shot of his face first and then
Yeah.
let him do the dangerous stuff. But yeah, it's possible. Anyway.
Picturing Jackie Chan going like, "Oh, my sweet summer child," like he's broken like every bone in his body shooting his movies, and Tom Cruise breaks an ankle. And
Yeah,
But to be fair, I mean, Jackie Chan also was restricted to what he could do over here because when he was doing Asian cinema, he did all his own stunts. Then he came over here, he only could do some of them. Just
well, he did them. They just weren't as ambitious.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and a lot and a lot of that was say but I mean those Hong Kong movies were nuts. Like, someone should have stopped him, and he was directing them too, so there was no one to say no.
I was saying like extras would get like broken bones and stuff like that.
He broke his neck in the middle of a movie and finished it and made another movie. You know what I mean? Like he did one stunt in Project A where. In Aladdin or any movie that's set in Arabia where they'll always have that slapstick bit where you like fall through the canopy.
Yeah, totally.
So he did that through 4 and landed on the ground and then looked at it and was like, not good enough, and did it again. Guy's crazy.
Okay, fair. Like that's a different thing than we do. We don't do that here.
No. Except for Jackass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Well, in fact, Knoxville's new movie he's got coming out I'm excited for is about him playing a character who opens some like incredibly dangerous circus.
Yeah.
And so it's like a plot movie, but they do all their own stunts, which I always thought they should have done.
Oh, and he was
great.
like clearly he enjoyed that ringleader role in the Jackass.
Oh
movies.
God,
like, he was all about that.
Oh, he's done more damage to himself than anyone.
Yeah, he can't. He has to have done some permanent damage, right?
Oh yeah, he needs to use a urethra to pee now.
Really?
Yeah, not a urethra.
Right,
Everyone needs to use
catheter.
a catheter.
Catheter.
Everyone needs to use their urethra
No
to pee.
shit, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah. He has to. Yeah, he needs a. We'll do a little swear clap.
Yeah.
He does. He does. I used to do it all the time. Don't worry about it. He does a. Yeah, he needs to use. Needs assistance to pee at all times.
Poor
now.
guy.
Hasn't stopped him though.
No.
Keeps doing it.
He loves it, man.
Oh, yeah.
He's the only one of that whole crew that genuinely seems to enjoy going through all the pain.
For sure, especially now that Steve-O's sober.
Is Steve sober now?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. Should I take over news? Do you
Yeah,
have more stuff?
we're on the movie and
Yeah, I'll
TV news.
slip into it.
This next one I'm looking up coming up about Paul Scheer writing a Galaxy Quest.
Yeah. There's Galaxy Quest. There's going to be a Galaxy Quest TV series on Amazon, and Paul Scheer just got hired to write it, which I'm very excited about. I'm a huge fan of him.
Will Tim Allen be involved at all?
No.
Or
God willing, no.
is he too busy on
They've already done
Twitter?
a trailer for it, haven't they?
I don't think so.
I believe there's been a trailer.
Well, there was
You could
that
be right.
weird Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, he has
Galaxy
his
type.
Galaxy Quest style show.
Yeah.
But it also could be one of the situations where Amazon does the pilots first, and then they have people vote on which ones they want. So maybe Paul Scheer's been hired since the pilot has aired. I don't know. I just know the details that I said.
Thank you.
Yeah, no
Very
problem.
good. You're very
No
good.
problem. I'm a big fan of him, and he does the best of the bad movie podcast, so he certainly knows
Yeah.
about fake crap. So he'll be the guy to do it. So
No, it blew my mind. That Paul Scheer.
for sure.
That's crazy.
Big fan of him, and I love Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
So we shall see what happens. And then next up, Daniel Craig finally said out loud that he's going to do another
Bond
James
25?
Bond movie. Yeah, Bond 25. Which will mean that he will, when that movie is released, he will have been playing James Bond longer than years-wise than anyone ever has.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
just because of like time between releases
Exactly,
and stuff.
Because the old
exactly.
ones were done
Yeah,
like 2 a year type
For
thing.
sure, like
Default win.
yeah, Roger Moore still does the most.
Yeah.
But not over. He was on a schedule where they were coming out every other year versus good old Craig's been taking breaks.
Yeah.
But I'm on board with it, if only because like it would be nice if he went out with a good movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Spectre wasn't great, and they have been on a schedule of every other movie being good with this, so it checks out that this will be a good one.
Oh, yeah, Skyfall was good. You're right.
Yep, Skyfall was really good. So
So like the opposite of Star Trek in that the odd-numbered movies
Exactly.
are the good ones.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
1, 3, 5.
Spectre wasn't awful. It just was kind of.
Yeah.
Well, I think they
Boring.
blew the chance of having Blofeld be like an awesome, cool, built-up villain.
For sure, and they got too lost in their own mythology as if anyone cared. Like, it's
no
Bond.
one- no one cares.
It doesn't matter. So I'm hoping, I think it was pretty clear what went wrong in that one. So I'm hoping they get it right, and hopefully they have like a listenable theme song would be great, because that last one was rough.
Who did that last one?
Oh God, what's his name?
Josh, was that Josh?
The British guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Ed Sheeran?
Sam.
No.
Sam. Oh,
What the hell is
Roberts.
Sam
No,
Smith?
Sam Smith.
Sam
Yeah,
Smith.
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that was a
Sorry,
bad song. You're right.
That was rough.
Skyfall was good.
Yeah,
Because
what was-
Adele did the one previous
Yeah.
to
Adele,
that. Yeah.
which was great. Well,
Post node surgery.
and the Skyfall one was supposed to be Radiohead, and they recorded it, and then they got Cold Feet at the last minute, and he wrote that song in like an afternoon. And
Like
it really, Sam
Tom
Smith.
York did? Or?
No,
Yeah.
Sam
Oh,
Smith.
okay.
And it really shows. No, the Radiohead one wasn't bad. It was just definitely a Radiohead song. But what was interesting is that they've taken it down since, but someone put the Radiohead song, the rejected Radiohead song, on the opening credits, and it actually of Skyfall, and actually sunk up better than the Sam Smith
Oh,
one did.
nice.
You mean Spectre?
Spectre, sorry, on the Spectre, and it actually sung up better than the Sam Smith one did. So I wondered if they kept the Radiohead one all the way through designing the credits.
That's
And then we're
possible,
just like, okay, we'll just throw this on
For sure,
top
yeah,
and hope
that-
it works.
Exactly, that it was that late, and they added a couple little things, but overall it was more in tune with the Radiohead, which was very bizarre. But
We gotta start wearing clothes for this podcast.
so anyway, hopefully, I got good hopes for that, and Lord knows how much he got paid for it, because they were he said he was the last offer he was given was when they still were trying to get him to do 2 more was $150 million for the 2.
Whoa, that is a lot of money.
So-
He turned that down?
Yeah, he did, because he just didn't want to do 2 more. So for even just to do the one, it must have been like
A ludicrous amount
like
of money.
70 million or something absurd like that. So
He's a good Bond.
yeah,
Like,
no,
I think
is good.
he's one of the better Bonds.
He really is, and I would genuinely like to see him go out on a high note. So that'd be good. But then after that, I'm ready for them to reinvent.
Yeah.
I'm ready for
I
time.
want something fun again.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
I think
like-
they should put Matthew Vaughn in charge of it.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
Oh
Kingsman.
man,
'Cause
after Kingsman,
yeah, because
like,
those Kingsman movies are a great contemporary version of the like
Absolutely.
old timey Bond. He knows how to do it. Whether or not he'd want to after like making 2 Kingsman movies isn't reasonable.
which is basically
question.
what he'd be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, right. Because he'd be like, I just did it twice. Like, I could do it with the name, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, we'll see what happens with that.
Yep.
And what do we got next?
The Witch is Robert
Oh
Eggers.
yeah. The director. So the director of The Witch is going to reteam with Anya Taylor-Joy, who's the star of The Witch, for a remake of Nosferatu.
Sure.
Which they haven't given any details on. Which I'm not against, just because I love that Max Schreck Nosferatu vampire. It's one of my favorites.
The creepiest,
Yeah.
like on-screen depiction, hands down,
The
in
best,
my opinion.
for sure. And there hasn't been a bad movie with the Nosferatu, because there's only been a couple. There was the Herzog one, the original one, and then Shadow of the Vampire. And all of
And that's
those are
like sort of
excellent.
meta one, right?
Yeah.
That like he's actually really a vampire.
To make that they hired a real vampire to make the first Nosferatu, which is incredible. If you've never seen that,
It's amazing.
check out Shadow of the Vampire. It's unfairly forgotten. But yeah, I'm on board. I loved The Witch, and that guy's really talented.
Yeah.
And I'd be curious to see what he'd get to do with the budget, and I hope they get that goat back, because
Well, that goat has to be in every
he
movie
was
now.
a real scene stealer. Yeah, he'll play Nosferatu.
Yeah,
Good
that's
old
right.
Black Phillip.
Yeah.
I expect that goat to have a long and illustrious career.
We can only hope. All right, next up. This is exciting. I'll bet you guys all thought that the Fast and Furious experience would always purely be films.
Yeah.
But you're wrong.
Oh, no
yeah.
way!
You're wrong.
You don't say.
I know, yeah.
What?
Because they are currently planning a stadium live tour
Oh,
Oh, okay.
that Vin Diesel has just shot some sort of filmed element for. So Vin will technically be there. You'll get to see him on screens, and then you get to see like race cars blow up in a live stadium.
Well, you know,
Sorry.
I'm down.
Oh, I
Like,
can't
all I'm
wait.
thinking
I
is
am pretty
Turtles
sold
in
on that.
Time.
Yeah.
Really, that's all I'm thinking of is like a musical number, and then they're gonna come out in spandex and crash cars and
Oh,
like
yeah.
a la like dance moves.
Yeah. No, what was the Ninja Turtles band? Coming out of the shell store. Which is, by the way, the first concert I ever went to.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I went to see them in the Kingston Memorial Center.
Oh, wow.
You are a lucky kid.
It was incredible. I'll never forget
so
it.
It was your first and best concert.
And your dad took you to 7. You got to go see the Ninja Turtles live band.
It's never been
What a childhood.
I know, right?
I didn't think I had a rough upbringing. Now I hate my parents.
It was a magical night. But this could top it. I'm not going to lie. I will probably go to this if it comes to Toronto. The idea of seeing cars explode in front of me with Vin Diesel talking to me, his soothing tones, is just way too exciting. So,
but how would they blow up cars? Because I mean, they're far too expensive to.
Well, I'd imagine it'll be mostly just like
the shell,
stunt driving and stuff.
Yeah,
there is ways to do it. There's breakaway, and you can set up the right pyrotechnics.
That's fair.
It's
not
a difficult feature.
No, I mean blowing up cars is easy. I meant more cost to return ratio. If they have a big stadium,
well, they're not going to be the actual built out
they won't
cars.
be
They're just going to be
sports cars.
Yeah, like you guys were saying, like just the shells of the car.
Here's our $1 million Ferrari we need to crash and blow up every single time we do a show.
It's really just like a Datsun that's been done up.
Exactly.
We got a lot of debt.
Exactly.
This is ill-advised.
So anyway, I'm just glad that it's coming out of my dreams and into real life.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Big news.
Get out of your dreams into your car.
I know, right? And next, this is nice. Studio Ghibli, which closed down, is now officially reopening because Hayao Miyazaki is working on a new movie. And I guess while they didn't retain the name Studio Ghibli, the bulk of the animators still stayed together as a collective to work on other projects, for hire.
Yeah.
And so now that Miyazaki's making another movie, he's getting the whole band back together, and they're reopening. Oh. And very exciting.
Did they only close because he was like, I'm done?
Yeah.
Okay. It wasn't, because they seemed fairly successful.
Oh, yeah.
It didn't seem like
Oh, yeah, for sure. And they were still cranking out stuff, but when he was done, they kind of... I mean, like I said, the animators sort of, became a separate company. The entity of Studio Ghibli still existed, in that they're trying to build a theme park in Japan and different things like that.
Isn't he building an actual park?
There's a park, yeah. I think that already exists.
I believe that was...
Yeah.
Because he was building that last year. He was going to build a park.
Yeah. I think like
a nature reserve.
Yeah, it's just supposed to look like any scene that you would see in Studio Japan.
Totally. And he's making it for just a Japanese countryside.
But the theme park was the thing that was just announced.
Yeah, that's another thing they're working on. So
I used to think that the Miyazaki of Studio Ghibli fan was the same guy from Dark Souls. They're in fact two different people. Unfortunately, there goes my Studio Ghibli Dark Souls movie.
So I mean, he worked on some family-friendly stuff, then he decided, hey, I want everyone to suffer.
Yeah,
so he made Dark Souls.
Total opposite. You need to get that out. It's cathartic.
Yeah.
You guys could just be misinterpreting Dark Souls. It could just be a really uplifting experience.
I mean, the lore is open for discussion. Right. Nothing's really set in stone.
Yeah, that lore is nonsense. It's really stupid.
For sure. And then finally, it was just announced today that Disney is in fact working on the Obi-Wan Kenobi spinoff movie they've talked about for ages. Mm-hmm. Which I'm not against,
sure.
And I'd even be all for Ewan McGregor coming back because he's the right age for the lost years.
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, and he'd be nice if he got to be Obi-Wan in a good movie. That'd be a big plus for him. My only concern with that, though, is the guy that's currently in charge of the project is Stephen Daldry, who made The Hours and The Reader and Billy Elliot. So he's a very placid, personality-free, Oscar bait kind of director.
Well, he did Broadway stuff for ages too.
Yeah,
totally. Before,
totally.
It's an odd choice.
It is an odd choice, and he's someone that he's fine, but he's just devoid of personality, and it just makes me increasingly concerned about the Star Wars team not essentially treating the directors they bring to their projects like TV directors and not really wanting them to be in charge of the projects. It very much feels like that, and that's a bummer. But that being said, I would like to see an Obi-Wan movie, so
sure.
We'll see.
Especially Ewan McGregor was perfectly cast.
Oh yeah,
so
totally.
Yeah, it'd be great to see him live that up again.
Yeah, he deserves to get it.
I think he's a good choice for the role. I think he was a perfect choice when they did it. I think that was the best part of those movies.
Oh, no way, man. Hayden Christensen. He was awesome. Yeah. Exactly how I always pictured a young Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm. Whiny and...
Yeah, angst-filled, wooden acting.
So, we'll see what happens.
Cool.
So that's it.
Take a break
I think it's a good time for a break right now and hear from our sponsors.
The Pixels&Ink podcast is brought to you by Buns, your city network. Buns connects you to the people in your neighborhood to help you find the things you need to fuel your real life. Swap things you already have to get items you need. You can also find jobs that pay the bills, homes for rent, advice, and a place to talk about your city. Buns is available online at buns.com and on your phones via the Apple App Store and Google Play Store.
Man, I wish I could get new comics every month, but I'm broke and oddly always $5 short. Lame.
Wait, $5 short, you say? Well, I've got something special for you.
What the hell was that?
It's me, the discount ghost of coupons past. Are you scared?
What the
Use the code CGMEG in all caps, all one word, to get $5 off your next comic bento subscription.
So wait, if I use the code CGMAG all in caps, all one word, I get $5 off my next comic bento?
Yes, use the code CGMEG in all caps, all one word, and get $5 off your next comic bento.
A whole $5, eh? Now that's scary.
Ooh.
Welcome back, and thanks, Bun Podcast Network and Comic Bento. Anyway, Phil, you've seen some movies for us.
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have 2 to talk about, and I actually enjoy both of them, which is a nice change.
Oh,
Weird.
that's
I'm
amazing.
scared.
Especially for this part of the summer. Yeah, this is normally not a good time.
This is the dregs usually.
Exactly. So the first one is Logan Lucky, which is the latest movie by Steven Soderbergh, who retired from movies.
Did he really?
Yeah, that's what he said after Behind the Candelabra, the one he did about God, how am I blanking on his name? The infamous gay pianist.
Oh yeah.
Who made his boy toy get plastic surgery to look like him. Liberace.
I was just going to say.
yeah.
Pavarotti, I'm like, no, that guy was a singer.
Yeah, Liberace, which is actually a really fun flick, as fun as that story could be. But anyway, yeah, he had claimed he was retired from movies because he just couldn't get the movies made that he wanted to anymore, and then obviously is no longer retired.
Yeah.
And he, and the movie he's made, which like you'd maybe expect would be some sort of big personal artistic odyssey, but it is in fact a big goofy heist romp.
That makes sense.
He did also do the Ocean's 11 movie, so there's precedent for that, but this is a very different story because rather than being very classy, professional, globetrotting thieves, it is rednecks who have never done a heist before. So it's good times. Yeah, so it's about Channing Tatum stars as a... Channing Tatum and Adam Driver, I should say, are 2 brothers who who are convinced their family's cursed because they have such horrible luck. Tatum was a high school football prodigy who ever assumed was going to be in the NFL, and then he blew his knee out and has been working crappy construction jobs ever since. Adam Driver joined the Army and lost a hand during the war and now works as a truck stop bartender. So they're not doing great. But Tatum's most recent job is he's working at a NASCAR track where they've been experiencing some sinkholes. So they've been digging tunnels to get in, which he has experience from for being a coal miner, and he realizes as a result of that they have very easy access to the safe and could probably blow that safe open. The problem is they don't know how to do that. They do know one guy who does, though, who's this lunatic redneck super criminal played by Daniel Craig, which is hilarious.
He's very British.
Looked amazing in the trailers.
Yes, but
that's his. He's what sold me on it.
He's done a fantastic job. Yeah, apparently Soderbergh called him up and said, I don't care what you do, just go for it. And he came up with this very cartoonish, very hilarious character. He's in prison though, so that means they have to break him out in addition to pulling off the heist. So it's pretty complicated. And it's a ton of fun. I mean, heist movies I find very satisfying when they're done well because it's all, it's very cinematic.
When it all comes together
exactly,
at the end.
Yeah, get the gang together, do the trick, hide something from the audience, da-da-da-da-da. And this is, Soderbergh's done a few of them now, so he's very good at it. And it's just, it feels very much like a movie where everyone involved was having a lot of fun.
That's good.
It's also, despite the fact that it's, set amongst, the redneck community, it could very easily be sort of mawkish and looking down on them, but it's a very loving portrait. The characters really reminded me a lot of the way Coen brothers write those characters, where they're like lugheads, but then they say something and you're like, oh, I guess you're brilliant. I had no idea. It's very snappy, very funny. All the characters are very well defined. The performances are very loving, and because it's Soderbergh, it's expertly directed, and very clever. A lot of the jokes are built right into the cinema, into the editing and the staging and everything. And it's just incredibly satisfying and the kind of thing that's impossible to leave without a smile on your face. And everyone's fantastic in it. Daniel Craig's hilarious. Steph MacFarlane's in it. He's quite good. Adam Driver and Tatum are both great. It was just a ton of fun, and it's also something that I really encourage people to see because it's actually, even though a very mainstream movie, it was kind of an experiment in that Soderbergh financed it, like got the budget by selling off the foreign distribution rights.
Okay.
And then got the advertising budget to do himself by selling off all the streaming and home video rights. So, and then all the actors and himself work for scale. So right now, as the movie goes into release, they're at zero. And every dollar they make theatrically is profit that goes directly to the filmmakers.
And this is the movie that he wanted to not work within the studio system.
Exactly.
So he basically found a way to not do it. Like what
Totally.
Kevin Smith did.
Yeah,
for,
totally.
like,
It's an
Tusk.
idea. Yeah, totally. And it's an idea he's had for a while. And it's interesting because it's a result of, digital distribution. Now that there's no film prints that need to be sent, just files. Like it is possible very cheaply to distribute a movie widely in a way that was never possible before. The problem is advertising. Yeah. And so they've come up with sort of creative ways to do it. And again, to have the advertising play for itself by selling off all the screening rights. Yeah. So I hope it does well, because if it does, it's a new distribution model. Now, granted, it's not something that will work for first-time filmmakers. You have to be established.
You
and
have Soderbergh, Spielberg, that sort of level of filmmaker.
Yeah, totally. And you have to have movie stars to sell it. Like it's tricky, but if it works, it would be a nice new. Yeah. It would be a way of replacing that like mid-budget adult movie that's essentially gone away, aside from during Oscar season. And I hope it does well, because it's an interesting experiment and a ton of fun and just immensely satisfying in every way, shape, or form. I highly recommend it. And then the other one I can talk about this week is The Hitman's Bodyguard.
I've heard of this.
Which is
there's ads for it on our site.
Exactly. Which is a big, which I also quite enjoyed, I'm pleased to say.
It looks fun.
Now that I know it's advertised on the site. It was actually a lot of fun. So it's a very traditional like buddy action movie. It's Midnight Run. It's another Midnight Run remake, just with Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson. So Ryan Reynolds plays a guy who used to be a professional bodyguard for like politicians and gangsters and so forth. He prided himself in being the best until someone got shot in the face on his watch, and then he lost it, and now he's burned out and drugged out and still good at what he does, but working with like low-level criminal scum. Right. And he gets a chance to redeem himself when his ex-girlfriend, who now works in Interpol, needs to transfer an assassin played by Sam Jackson to an international court to testify against a war criminal played by Gary Oldman.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a great cast, and most of the movie is just Ryan Reynolds and Sam Jackson bickering and then beating people up. And Selma Hayek's also in it, and an extended cameo that almost steals the movie as a really foul-mouthed assassin girlfriend to Sam Jackson, who's in prison. So it's very, very basic. It doesn't pretend to be anything it's not, but it is a ton of fun. I mean, the cast is fantastic that I just described. And Sam Jackson gets some fantastic. Reynolds and Jackson both get some great dialogue. I believe at one point, Sam Jackson says, there are a couple lines he liked. They all have swear words. So I guess the one I'll say is at one point he describes something as a plethora of mother effers, which is a good line, especially for him. Especially for him. And so it's fun on that level. And then beyond that, the action scenes are actually excellent, which I didn't expect. It's directed by... where's his name? It's directed by Patrick Hughes, who previously did the worst and most boring of the Expendable movies.
Oh, fun.
So I didn't have high hopes for the action, but it's actually incredibly well done. In particular, there was one chase scene in Amsterdam with Sam Jackson in a boat on the canals, and then Ryan Reynolds and bad guys on either motorcycles or cars driving through the streets and bridges across the canals.
Okay, fair enough.
That's absolutely spectacular. And it's one of those, a lot of people try to do the kind of like throwback 80s, 90s action movie now, and it's very tricky to get right. And I feel like this one actually did it.
Nice.
And it is a B movie, but it's a really fun one. And, if you lament the loss of those old-timey, big, dumb action movies, this is a pretty good one. So
awesome.
I highly recommend either of those. They're both a good time.
Cool. Yeah. And I know if you want to hear more about Logan Lucky, your review went up on the site yesterday.
That's correct.
So go check it out on cgmagonline.com.
Please do.
Really good review.
Thank you.
Got a lot of things to say.
They always are.
Yeah.
Aw, shucks, guys.
Aww.
You're the coolest, Phil.
Hey, Phil. So, Quinn, you played some really big games this week. Well, one really big game.
One really big game.
One really big game.
And smaller game?
I played Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
No, you did that shooter. Oh, that was last week?
shooter? How do you know?
The PlayStation exclusive.
Oh yeah, that's right. I played Matterfall, and I really liked it. I can't believe it slipped my mind.
Sony loves you right now.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll talk about Uncharted first, just because that's kind of the big thing.
Yeah.
And it comes out next week. And I'll start off by saying, I mean, I said this in my review. I love the Uncharted series, but A Thief's End, like, it bored me to tears. I turned it off maybe a third of the way through, and I never went back. It's the only game in the series I didn't finish, and, you know, I felt a little, I don't know, like I'd betrayed something I was quite fond of. But anyways, booted up The Lost Legacy, and, you know, I finished it in, I think, 2 or 3 days.
Nice.
Not a very long game. I guess none of the Uncharted ones are.
No.
But definitely the most fun I've had with the series in a while.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because I even like the last one.
And I mean, they kept a lot of the mechanics from the last one, so like the rope swinging and the piton or whatever, the climbing thing.
Do they have any car chases again?
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's sort of open world, which was really neat. I didn't know how well that would work because Uncharted's always been very linear in the best way. Like, you know, very scripted, good set pieces, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it was fun. They kind of plop you down in the middle of this big part of the Western Ghats, which is a mountain range in India. And you have a bunch of things you have to do, and you can kind of tackle them in whatever order you want.
Now, I have a question, because I was talking to the directors of the game, and they were saying they managed to tell a linear story in a non-linear gameplay. How do they manage that?
Well, basically, so you have 3 major areas, like big temples, sort of, on the map that can be tackled in any way that you want. But prior to that, and once finishing that, it kind of segs back into like the plot.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, and there's little side quests and stuff you can do. But yeah, it was you know, stupidly pretty, as all Naughty Dog games are.
The trailers looked gorgeous.
Oh, I mean, it was lush. Lush was the word I couldn't stop thinking about when I was playing it, because it takes place in India, so there's a lot of plant life and trees and flowers and water, and like it feels alive. It's colorful. It feels humid. And yeah, it was fun. It was briskly paced. There was, you know, the climbing sections never felt overly long.
That's good, because that's normally what drags those games.
Oh, man, and the walking and talking parts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a bit of that at the beginning when they're kind of setting up the characters, which is fine. But once the game kicks off, there's very little of that, which is, you know, what really turned me off about Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
The combat's fun. They introduced silenced weapons.
Oh, that's neat.
Oh,
which I believe is a first for the series. I didn't finish Uncharted 4, but I don't remember seeing them. Which, you know, it makes the stealth sections all the more fun.
Yeah.
It's something that I'm surprised it took them 5 games to put in.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, it's still more fun to like sneak around and pull them off ledges and stuff.
Yeah,
but you know, popping them in the head with the silencer was a blast, as
doubt.
it always is. And something that didn't even occur to me until they finished was it's 2 minority female lead characters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Which, I mean, honestly, just given, you know, the state of the industry in the last few years with Gamergate and all that, I really thought that would be more of a narrative surrounding the game.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people seem to be talking about it, but also that's cool because it can show that it doesn't have to be,
it doesn't have to be a big deal.
the center of the game.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it can still be just a fun game that just coincidentally
Totally.
has these 2 characters.
I almost wonder if it was something like when they started developing, they thought they'd make more of a big deal out of, and then by the time it came out, the climate was such they realized they didn't even have to. Make comments
I
on
mean,
it.
it didn't even occur to me until I was done that it was like, oh
Yeah.
which is good because I mean that series has banked so much on kind of the banter between Sully and
Nathan.
and Drake
Yeah.
that you know it's starting up. You're like, how are they going to master that? But the voice actresses were fantastic. It still had that kind of witty banter between the 2 characters. Yeah, all in all, fun.
Cool.
Price tag's a bit steep. I got to be honest. $40 for an experience that long is, you know, that's a lot of money to ask. But at the same time, I mean, it's production's through the roof.
Right. I mean, it can't have been cheap to make either.
It can't have been cheap to make, and there's a new multiplayer mode and a whole bunch of new skins and stuff as well. So if you're an Uncharted fan, highly recommend it.
Sweet.
Most fun I've had with the series probably since Uncharted 2. So.
Awesome. Very cool.
Very cool. Yeah, and so tell us about Matterfall then.
Oh yeah, so Matterfall is from Housemarque, so the guys that made Stardust and Rez, I think.
No. They did that top like the shooter zombie game.
Oh.
What was that game called?
Top-down zombie shooter, like a mobile game.
No, it was kind of like. I'm gonna forget. I'm drawing a blank here. This is great radio.
Yeah,
I
now we're all.
know.
Yeah.
So it was
You're gonna have to edit this
So it was
part
like
out.
Dead Nation?
Dead Nation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
They like Super Stardust is on here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what hand. Anyway, whatever. It's a fun arcadey, semi-platformer, like bullet hell twin stick. It's short. It's sweet. It's colorful. Looks incredible on a nice TV, I imagine, because I played it on a crappy one, and it still looked really good. Not a lot of length to it, but plenty of replay value if you like that kind of high score, who can finish fastest, leaderboard type stuff. And just, I love games with really fluid, groovy combat. It was really weird to get into it first because of the nature of it being twin stick. All the like jumping and crouching and dashing buttons are mapped to the shoulder.
Oh, weird.
Oh, okay.
Which, like, my thumb kept wanting to hit X square to jump. That took a while to get used to, but then when it finally clicks, it's smooth, it's fluid, it's fast. Just, it definitely takes a bit of getting used to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's only $20.
That's awesome.
And yeah, if you like those kind of games, highly
It
recommend
looked pretty too from what I saw.
Oh, it's a beautiful game. So much color and just vividness happening on screen.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
Sounds good.
And Phil, what'd you play?
Oh yeah, I mean, I didn't play anything new, but
We can still talk about it.
Yeah, talk about it.
For sure. No, having seen, I saw John Woo's Hard Boiled in the theater a few weeks ago, which was incredible.
Yeah.
And then after that, I remembered that he'd been involved with the game, and I looked up and found out it was actually a direct sequel where you get to play as Tequila.
Is it actually a direct
Chow Yun Fat.
sequel?
Yeah. You're playing as Chow Yun Fat, did all the voice performance and
Oh,
everything, and
awesome.
he's even named Tequila, so it's a direct sequel. So I grabbed it, and I've been working through it, and I mean, like, look, it is a very overt knockoff of Max Payne, obviously, which is fair because Max Payne was a knockoff of John Woo.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
totally.
the cycle continues.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. And the the plot's pretty stupid and it can be a bit buggy, but at the same time, I've had a ton of fun with it just because what I wanted out of it was just to do John Woo silliness, and there's so much of that. You can literally run or slide off anything, and it will go into slow motion, allow you to kill guys. It's fantastic.
Which is exactly what you want.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's
Like
what you
you'll jump up and like run down a banister killing guys, and then from there like dive onto a cart and slide across the cart.
So I remember this game getting negative reviews when it first launched, and this was early PS3, Xbox 360.
And I could see that if only because it is derivative and repetitive, but for the purposes that I got it for, I'm lucking the hell out of it. And from what I understand, like your powers increase, and I'm going to play it at least until I get the ultimate superpower, which is that you press one button and doves fly out of the ceiling, and you kill everyone in the room.
Is that actually a power?
Like,
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Exactly.
You can see what I'm doing with this podcast.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I have to play it until then at least.
That's fair.
So as a like John Woo, big John Woo fan, which I most certainly am. That was fun, and he's got a new his first action movie since the '90s coming out.
Wow.
In the fall, so I'm on board.
You're just right on time.
I know, it worked out perfectly. So anyway, if you like John Woo and don't mind rip off silly PS3 era games, it was a great time.
PS3 was a solid system.
It really was.
Yeah.
It really, really was.
Underrated.
Yeah.
I think so, absolutely. Especially in the later stages,
Yeah.
man. They killed it.
Yeah.
Totally.
Wow. Yeah. Brendan, what'd you play?
I just played the World Council. It's a card game. Yeah, it's a card game. It's a cardboard game type thing. So the concept of the game is you are each representing a country, and you're all trying to control the world in the way you want. So you can build power plants, build solar reactors, use nuclear deterrents against your enemies to get them to give you things. It's weird. It's made originally in Hong Kong, so the instruction manual for this game is completely just Google translated.
Like one of those really bad translations.
Oh yes.
too. Yeah.
Some of the sentences don't make sense at all. I don't know what to do here. Am I supposed to do this? I don't know. But once you figure it out, it actually is not very hard at all. You basically just do what the card says. You do whatever you can during that turn. You're done. I feel that it's needs a bit of work on the design because some of it feels a little awkward the way it works. But it's fun. It's a really fun little game. It takes 30 minutes to play.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I got it for 300 and some Hong Kong dollars, which works out to be $30.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I kickstarted it. I think you can now just buy it via the site. It's the World Council. It's a fun little game. I don't know what else to say about it. I like the art style they have going on. They have a very kind of Did you ever any of you play DEF CON?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like that. Well, the very simple, like military style, like light up icon type things.
Like a War Games type background.
Yeah. So it looks like all the cards look like that. That kind of very stylized, single like color on color
like
type.
kind of Cold War era video screen sort of.
Very much so. And then you basically just have different countries. So you have like superpower, developed nation, island nation, totalitarian state, and each different country or different nation has a different win condition. So if you're playing a superpower, you get more cards, but it's harder for you to win. If you're playing the totalitarian state, you only have one win condition, but you get 3 cards to start with. So it all kind of plays disadvantages and advantages.
So it's balanced.
It is a balance to it. I don't know. I think the totalitarian state was a little harder because it had 4 military, which was a little harder to get than the other nations, which are just like food and grain, things like that. So it's just a different. You need to learn how to play the game and figure out how to kind of strategize. If you're just playing cards, you really do wear through the resources stuff very quickly.
Yeah,
and the world ends really quick.
Well, the best games are especially with card games that like you don't really get it first, but after a few rounds, like you know exactly what you're trying to do, and how to win or screw your enemies over.
I did find it was an interesting rule that there's no rule stopping you from just ending the world so someone else doesn't win.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So basically, like in the game,
I think that would be my go-to strategy.
Like every time.
Every time, I just end the world. If like
slightly losing, end the world.
Yeah, I can't win. Guys. So forget you guys.
So when I was playing, I was like, you get one. The enemy players have one turn to try to stop you from winning. So what the person I was playing with did was, well, I'm just going to do this and this and this action, and now the world ends. And I'm like, all right, that ends.
Well, we all lose, but at least, you didn't win.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a fun little game. It's easy to pick up. The price point's good. Like it's, as I said, like $30 some bucks for a game that's it's easy to play. You can play it, I think 4 to 6 players. It's easy to pick up. Once you know how to play, you can teach another person to play in like 5 minutes.
Well, I was the same with Coup. Like it took me a couple like rounds to get into it, but then once I was into it, I was like, I really got into it.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's worth playing. If anyone can find it in some local shop or buy it online, it's well worth playing. But don't go in expecting the most like riveting game ever. It's pretty simple.
Think you'll play it again?
Yeah, I'll play it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
I'm playing one. I can't really go. Like I can talk a little bit about like my first impressions, but I'm playing Metronomicon Slay the Dance Floor. And so I have this obsession.
Which is an amazing name for a game.
Isn't that the best name?
It is a great title.
I have this obsession with DDR, and when I saw this at like a few PAXs ago, and then continued to see it at every con that I happened to be at in the indie booth, it just kept getting cooler and cooler because they'd introduce like Guitar Hero guitars and dance pads, and it's this wild, crazy like RPG mixed in with a DDR mechanic.
Bizarre.
It's really crazy. It
doesn't even make sense.
I'll talk a little bit more about that next time. But I'm having some fun with what I'm playing right now.
Sweet.
Yeah. So I guess that's it, guys.
That it is.
Yeah. Anything else? Anybody?
No, I think we're done.
We're all good?
That's good for me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. And if you like what you hear or you want to hear more about the things that we talked about, you can visit us at cgmagonline.com or follow us on Twitter at cgmagonline. Brendan Fry, you still got a Twitter. What's your Twitter?
B426.
And Quinn, you have Twitter yet?
No Twitter.
What about next week?
Nope.
He has a Twitter, he just doesn't use it.
Okay.
I've had a Twitter for like 6 years, but I think the last thing I updated was like a PlayStation 3 announcement. So.
Can you just tweet out PlayStation 3 announcements?
Just continually. Yeah, why not?
That's a good idea.
You guys heard of this game, Demon's Souls? A lot of fun. It just came out.
And Phil?
At that Phil Brown.
Great. And I'm at Lisa Awesome. You can also follow us on Facebook at CG Magazine, on Instagram at CG Mag Online. If you are getting this through iTunes podcast, you can like and rate us, and that'd be great.
Give us 5 stars.
Give us 5 stars. No, be good.
If you think
be
we
kind.
deserve it.
If you think we
Even
deserve
if you
5
don't,
stars.
whatever. Give us 5 stars. We're good people.
Give us 10 stars. 10 out of 5.
Let more people hear us.
We
if
probably
you
deserve it.
think we should.
We're also on Stitcher Radio and
oh yeah, Stitcher Radio. So you can rate us on
and
there.
SoundCloud.
And SoundCloud.
As long as that lasts.
SoundCloud as much as we can. And thanks again to Buns Podcast Network and Comic Bento for sponsoring our podcast. From everyone here at CG Magazine, have a great weekend.
See you later.
Woo.